The Union Budget 2026 is India's annual financial statement presented by the central government that lays down plans for revenue and expenditure for the next financial year from 1 April 2026 to 31st March 2027. It is the most important financial instrument of the government reflecting priority sectors, economic strategy, taxation policy, social welfare and fiscal discipline. The budget determines how India mobilizes resources, spends on defense, health, education, infrastructure and social sectors and balance growth with fiscal prudence. What is Union Budget of India? The Union Budget of India is the annual financial statement of the Government of India which presents a detailed account of the estimated revenues and expenditure of the central government for a particular financial year running from 1st April to 31st March. The Union Budget is presented every year by the Union Finance Minister in the Lok Sabha, usually on 1st February, and it requires approval from Parliament before implementation. Union Budget 2026 key highlights. Union Budget 2026 has been presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on 1st February 2026 Sunday. Aligned with the Viksit Bharat at 2047 vision, the budget seeks to balance fiscal discipline with strategic investment that promise strong long-term economic returns. The key highlights of the Union Budget 26-27 has been discussed below in detail. Overall vision and economic philosophy. The Union Budget 26-27 is guided by the theme action over ambivalence, reform over rhetoric, people over populism, aligning with the long-term vision of Viksit Bharat. The budget focuses on moderate inflation, sustained high growth, 7% fiscal discipline and macroeconomic stability while balancing ambition with social inclusion. A strong emphasis is placed on reduced import dependence, energy security, domestic manufacturing capacity and public investment-led growth. Yuva Shakti and inclusive growth focus. The budget is Yuva Shakti driven, targeting employment generation, skill development and entrepreneurship for youth. Priority is given to poor, underprivileged and disadvantaged sections, reinforcing the vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. The government outlines three Kartavya. First Kartavya, accelerate and sustain economic growth. Second Kartavya, fulfill aspiration of our people. Third Kartavya, vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Sustaining momentum of structural reforms. Over 350 structural reforms have been implemented, including GST simplification, labor code notification and quality control rationalization. High-level committees have been formed. Central government is working with the state governments on deregulation and reducing compliance requirements. Manufacturing both strategic and frontier sectors. Major schemes announced for strengthening high-value and technology-intensive manufacturing, including revival of 200 legacy industrial clusters, India Semiconductor Mission 2.0, electronics components manufacturing scheme, Biopharma Shakti, dedicated chemical parks, container manufacturing and rare earth permanent magnet initiatives, high-tech tool rooms in CPSEs, scheme for container manufacturing, dedicated initiative for manufacturing of affordable sports goods, tax and customs reforms to boost manufacturing, 5-year income tax exemption for non-residents supplying capital goods to toll manufacturers in bonded zones, expansion of duty-free import limits for seafood, footwear, leather and textile exporters, deferred duty permanent facilities for trusted manufacturers and recognition of regular importers with trusted supply chains, one-time concessional duty window for eligible special economic zone manufacturing units to sell in domestic tariff area, MSME growth as champion, introduction of a Rupee 10,000 crore SME growth fund and Rupee 2,000 crore top-up to the Self-Reliant India Fund, mandatory use of trades by CPSEs for MSME procurement with CGTMSE backed credit guarantee for invoice discounting, linking GEM with trades to ensure faster and cheaper MSME financing, development of corporate mitras in Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns for affordable compliance support, services sector as a growth engine, establishment of high-power education to employment community focus on services, 5 medical value tourism hubs to be developed in partnership with states and the private sector, expansion of Ayush infrastructure allied health institution, caregiver training, and AVGC creator labs. Strong push to sports, design, healthcare, and the orange economy through institutional strengthening. Khelo India Mission, integrated talent development pathway, systematic coaching development, integration of science and technology, and development of sports infrastructure, tourism, education, and culture. Development of 15 archaeological sites into experimental destination and a national destination digital knowledge grid, pilot upskilling of 10,000 tourist guides, and setting up a national institute of hospitality, establishment of 5 university townships, girls hostel in STEM institution, and telescope infrastructure facilities. India to host the first ever Global Big Cat Summit, development of Buddhist circuit in the Northeast region, financial sector reforms, setting up the high-level committee on banking for Viksit Bharat to align with India's next growth phase, incentive of ₹100 crore for the single issuance of municipal bonds of more than 1,000 crore, and continuation of Amrit linked support, introduction of market making framework and total return swaps in corporate bonds, restructuring Power Finance Corporation and Rural Electrification Corporation, review of FEMA non-debt instrument rules and restructuring of PFC and REC, increase in securities transition tax STT on futures and options, agriculture and allied sectors, integrated development of 500 reservoirs and Amrit Sarovar, targeted programs for fishery, horticulture, cashew, cocoa, coconut, sandalwood, and animal husbandry, launch of Bharat Vistar integrating agri-stack and ICER practice with AI systems, creation of a care ecosystem with the training of 1.5 lakh caregivers, launch of SHE Marts, Divyangjan Kausal Yojana and Divyang Sahara Yojana, expansion of mental health institution and trauma care centers at district hospital, capital subsidy for private veterinary colleges, hospitals and breeding facilities, infrastructure and public capital expenditure. Continued sharp rise in public capex supported through REITs, INVITs, NIIF, and ABFID, new dedicated freight corridors, 20 new national waterways and coastal cargo promotion, ₹2 lakh crore support to state under SASCI scheme, focus on Tier 2 and Tier 3 city infrastructure and logistic corridors, energy security and climate action, ₹20,000 crore for the carbon capture utilization and storage scheme, BCD exemption for lithium-ion batteries, solar glass, nuclear project extended till 2035, and critical minerals, excise duty relief on biogas blended CNG to promote clean energy, people-centric development, creation of a care ecosystem with training of 1.5 lakh caregivers, launch of SHE Marts, Divyangjan Kausal Yojana and Divyang Sahara Yojana, expansion of mental health institutions and trauma care centers at district hospitals, supporting artificial limbs manufacturing corporation of India to scale up production of assistive devices, invest in research and development and AI integration, ease of doing businesses and trust-based governance, automated customs, single digital cargo clearances window and extended validity of advanced rulings, simplification of TDS/TCS extended return filing timelines and decriminalization of minor tax offences, MAT rationalization and immunity schemes to encourage voluntary compliance, fiscal discipline and deficit targets. Fiscal deficit targeted at 4.3% of GDP in budget estimate 26-27, continuing the consolidation path. Debt to GDP ratio projected at 55.6% with a medium-term target of 50 plus minus 1% by 2030. 16 Finance Commission recommendation, ₹1.4 lakh crore Finance Commission grants to states, vertical devolution share retained at 41%.